Welcome to Keeping It Real, the largest podcast made by real estate agents and for real estate agents. My name is DJ Paris. I am your guide and host through the show. Today is our monthly coaching moments with Ryan DiApril. Now, if you're not familiar with Ryan, or if you're new to our show, Ryan comes on every month to give our listeners and our viewers a coaching moment and a coaching session. So let me tell you about Ryan. Now, Ryan DiApril is a progressive thought leader focused on providing for his agents and his staff at DiApril Properties, also Midwest Lending, as well as Hubbard Street Title. Now, his strengths are his motivational skills, his coaching style, and his dedication to training. Now, DiApril Properties has 14 offices throughout Chicagoland, and he's also in Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, and Florida, with hundreds and hundreds of top producers. Now, DiApril Properties is a premier real estate brokerage devoted to promoting the brand of their agents, and is also consistently ranked as one of Chicago Tribune's top workplaces and Inc. 500 fastest growing companies. Now, if you'd like to take your career to the next level, or if you're just not getting the attention you need from your current firm, please check out DiApril Properties. Visit deeprilproperties.com. You can also see the link to that right in our notes on the podcast here. Welcome once again, Ryan.
Hey, thanks. Happy New Year. Good to be back.
Happy New Year. It's our first episode of our first coaching moment of the year. So,
yeah. Have you been busy the new year?
Yeah, my girlfriend got COVID, and this was in December, and so it completely towards the end of December, just before Christmas, and it completely derailed our holiday plans, and so we pushed everything a week, and so we just got back from Florida where we had celebrated the December holidays. It was actually kind of nice because it wasn't as crazy. But yeah, I mean, it seems like everybody's getting sick these days.
It is. You know, a lot of our offices have been empty and whatnot because of the spike that we've had. So it's crazy times.
Yeah. And I know, gosh, and we should also mention, and just because we're doing this live, although this episode won't be released for about a week or a week and a half, but it is Martin Luther King Day. So we should wish everyone a happy MLK Day today, and easy thing to acknowledge. And
that's right. Yep. We're actually closed. I'm in our office today. I'm dressed casual, as you can see. The company's closed today, but I came to get out of the house to speak with you guys, to be with you here.
We appreciate it. So what, tell us about, what your thoughts are. It's a new year.
New year.
You and your team of coaches are always chatting with your agents.
Yeah.
What are you usually talking about in January?
I think it's a good time to come back to the fundamentals. I had, the privilege of meeting with two different teams this morning and working with them and helping them build their business. And, one of the teams had a new agent shadow them, one of the new agents joining their team. And I had a lot of fun showing this agent why this other particular agent was so wildly successful. And I also told him how incredibly mundane and boring it is that got him to the top and is keeping him at the top. So I think it's a good time to just kind of cover all those bases, and what it is we do, that produces income for us, right, as real estate agents. And then also talk about, I think I've talked about this before. I think it's a great message to get back to everybody else is, what are you doing to shake up your routine? And how aware of you are of your routines? Are you working from your house every day? Are you fortunate enough to work at a real estate brokerage that has offices? Are you getting up and going to the offices and getting in a professional environment to grow your business and whatnot? So I figured let's kind of cover all those bases. That works for you.
Yeah, it does. And, I was thinking, we were talking offline about working from home and how I was sort of forced to do it when my girlfriend got sick in December. And then we just got back from Florida and felt it was responsible to at least take a few days before getting another test just to see if it was okay to return to the office. And I was really fortunate during COVID in the sense that I was able to come into the office every day. So I didn't have a lot of the work at home experience. Of course, realtors, even pre-COVID, a lot of them work remotely. A lot of them don't necessarily have offices to go to, or they do have offices, they don't take advantage of them. For example, we've got hundreds and hundreds of agents at our firm too, and very few of them ever come into our offices. I just don't work well from home. And I'm almost wondering what percentage of people do work well from home. And there's a million factors to sort of to determine how successful that would be for an individual. But I just don't work well from home. I'm curious if you feel the same way, or what's
Yeah,
like
no,
for you.
I work well. So I have a morning routine that I get up and I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I work on my stuff where I don't have to have any interaction, right? And planning and spreadsheets and stuff like that. But then I'm in my office by 8:30 in the morning. So my day starts earlier, but I'm in a professional environment by 8:30 in the morning. And quite honestly, all of our top producers at our company, with the exception of a couple, I see them in the office. We have 16 offices or so. I see them in the offices regularly. When I walk in, I send an email message to our entire company. I say, I see the usual suspects in our office every time I visit. And it's always the top producing real estate agents that are there. And, you can get work done. I mean, you can travel, you can be at your kid's soccer game, you can be your kid's basketball coach, and you can multitask, and we're blessed with the technology we have, and you can multitask and get a lot of things done. But you still need, you still have to put yourself out there. And I think putting yourself into that professional mindset that, I'm running a multi-million-dollar business as a real estate agent or a loan officer or a title rep, whatever it may be that you are in a real estate industry that you're doing. And, to wake up, dress up, show up, and go in consistently 4 or 5 times a week to grow your business and work on your business. It separates you from the pack, quite honestly. And I just think there's an energy and an aura about it. I truly think that things just come to you easier if you put yourself out there in that professional environment versus, working from home 5 days a week and just kind of, having your license and doing what you're doing, but not really being intentional about what you're doing, being more accidental.
Yeah, I think that's right. And even just having a morning routine, whereas you were saying for yours, it starts with you and you. So you're spending time where it's quiet in the house, the kids aren't up maybe yet, or hopefully not, giving you a little bit of quiet where you can really reflect on your life, your responsibilities for the day, the week, the month, the quarter, and get some you time. And then that's compartmentalized. And then it's okay, now I need to go to the office where I'm around this energy of just getting things done. Because it is, you're so right. It really is. Life is so much about the middle, like learning how to exist in the middle and doing the sort of mundane, not necessarily the most exciting tasks, every single day or every week or month or quarter. It's usually the little things that win the game, the fundamentals, right? So
yeah, it is. And it's, also getting out of that environment of, being alone. Because your mind's a funny thing and it could play games on you. I mean, it literally could. People make up stories,
sure.
they create dialogues that are just not true. And you gotta get into an environment where there's other top producers there. You gotta shake it up. You gotta stay focused on what's important. Going to this morning, it was a great, a message. And this, I'll tell everybody here. So here we are, it's January, 16th, 17th.
Yeah.
What is it today?
17th.
17th. So what's your goal for the year as a salesperson, right? And so this particular agent's goal is $25 million. And they did about 21 million last year. Average price point's about $300,000, sold 66 units last year, and had, a newbie shadowing him on his team. And I asked them to recite the statistic of what percentage of your network transacts. And do you recall
16?
What is?
Yeah, 16%.
Yeah, 16%. And so we looked at last year, and it was great because here we are, it's 2 weeks from the previous year, and he had 66 transactions.
It's amazing.
And in his network, he's got 436. Now I'm a little bit off on these numbers here, right?
Yeah.
So it's 436 or 463. It was 6 hours ago. But the point is this: all of his sales came from his network. And so I'm just going to grab my calculator here. If you take 435 times 0.16, it's 69 transactions, and he had 65 transactions. Now here's the thing, though, and this is incredibly important. And I coached this team right after I coached another team, and the other team had somebody who'd been on their team for about a year. And I showed this other particular person who had these 65 transactions. And in what we call our dashboard, Zanello, our internal CRM and coaching platform that we've created, this particular person who had 66 transactions, as of this morning, January 17th, you say today was the 17th or 16th?
Yep, 17th.
He's contacted 96 of his 436 contacts already.
Just this year alone.
Just this year alone. He's on quarterly live flow. I mean, he's not a team. He's got a team member joining, right? He's showing somebody what he's doing. The previous was a team. So he's got a newbie on there. And so he said, I'll do quarterly live flow because it's just too many transactions. We have transaction managers and marketing coordinators that help the agents, but still a lot of running around and a lot of doing what. So he focuses on quarterly live flow. And by January, February, March, by April 1st, everybody in his dashboard will have heard from him. And then I went to his marketing audit. And
can we pause for just a moment, because I want to make sure everyone's hearing this. So he has his sphere of influence, or his contact list, is about 400 deep, 400 contacts or so.
Yeah,
clients.
He's got 700 total, right?
Okay.
Plus, because he's got a farm in there. And he's got suspects, people that are like you just met,
Right.
but of his sphere of influence, people he's going to be in live flow, he's going to communicate with regularly. He's got 400, let's say 440.
And let's define live flow for any of our new listeners.
All right. So you have live flow is networking with your own network. So systematically reaching out and researching what's going on with that person in your network and touching base with them and having dialogue with them, not about you, not about what you do, just creating a bond, creating, a rapport. That's what live flow is, because it's not what you know, DJ, it's
who you know.
It's who you know.
Yeah.
So that's what live flow is. It's about networking with your own network, because your network is your
net worth.
Your net worth. You getting bored of me? That's exactly what it is.
No, it's so true. And when Ryan's talking about, we're really talking about deepening relationships and demonstrating care and demonstrating that you are present and a professional, and also paying attention to your clients. And we've all had the experience where somebody ends up using another realtor and we're like, I thought that person was my friend. Well, they are your friend, but were you staying in touch with them in a way that they knew that they could reach out to you when they need help? A lot of times too, people go, oh, maybe I just thought you were too busy. Right. That comes up too. It's the, oh, I haven't heard from you, so I went with somebody else. Or, well, you seem so busy all the time, I didn't want to reach out and bother you. So those are two. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reality, it's this. I want you to finish my sentence on this one too. Okay. It's out of sight, out of
mind.
So the next thing we shift over is to your marketing. And so the team that I was coaching before had an individual on the team that been in the business for about a year and a half. And this particular individual has about 180 contacts in his network. So we have what we call our marketing audit. Okay. And most CRMs should have this. It's an easy way to see everybody in your dashboard. Okay. And what I want to know is do I have your home address? Do I have your email address? Right? Am I socially connected to you? Because if I'm out of sight, I'm out of mind. And that's what, that's the auto flow. That's your consistent marketing. That's how it's going to happen. So here's a learning lesson for this, for everybody here. Listen. So the particular agent who did the 65 transaction, $21 million in business, who had 436 contacts, right? I went to the marketing audit and he's missing 13 addresses out of everything.
That's it. Yeah.
All email addresses authored. Now, the other individual in the previous team, right, in the coaching session, has been in the business for a year and a half, just still learning, right? 176 contacts, had only 50 completed contacts, right? And here's the difference between somebody doing 2-3 million a year and somebody doing consistently $21 million a year, $21 million a year. I mean, let's be real. It puts you in the top 1% income bracket in the country. It's big dollars. It's to be taken seriously. And I said to the agents listening, I said, this is what it is. This is how you make your money in this business. It's paying attention to these incredible benchmarks, like incredibly important, data points. Where does DJ live? What's his email address? Am I connecting him socially? When was the last time I communicated with him? That's in step one, right? And then coming from that comes prospects, right? Then you move those over to another category, and we could talk about that later and how you follow up with it. But the best message to give the listeners here is you are the subject that you are studying.
Yeah.
You are the subject that you're studying, and you are tracking your own progress. You should be tracking your own data. You should be holding yourself more accountable than anything else in your life. And if you do that, simply put an hour and a half a day, all the other stuff will come to you. Business will come, new clients will come, and then you go on autopilot. I tell everybody, I don't need to coach you on how to write a contract. I don't need to coach you on how to to negotiate a deal. I mean, there's pointers and there's tips and tricks, of course, and we could always sharpen our skill set, which is important. But the most important part of it is how are you generating more and more leads year in and year out? And if you do the fundamentals, this begins to snowball. It actually becomes easier. And this is another point I want to make to all listeners here. There are some great, producing $10-12 million real estate agents that have been in the business for 10 years. But I will argue that there are $30 million producing agents performing at a $10-15 million year because it's just coming to them after and over time, which is great. And maybe that's where you want to be. But once you get to that structured, that disciplined, where you treat it like a business and you're looking at those important data points and really focus on the fundamentals, that $12 million producer becomes a $36 million producer in a matter of years.
Yeah, I was actually doing the math on while you were talking about sort of the producer that you have, the $25 million producer who's already contacted like 96 of his sphere of influence list. And, it's so funny because you look at that giant list and you go, oh my gosh, I have 400 names. That's so many phone calls, but it's really not. Whereas this person made on average, if he did it evenly every day, he did about 5 to 6 phone calls a day.
That's right. It's 7.
It's totally
7
reasonable. Yeah.
7 a day. And you know what? They don't even have to be phone calls. Guys, they could be text messages and they could be writing on somebody's Facebook wall doesn't count, but you could instant message them.
Yeah.
Instant message, Facebook Messenger, you could use all those and you could have a dialogue. It doesn't have to be a phone call. But if you consider there's 20 working days in a month, right? And you take this one's doing it. I think everybody here, if you're not at the level you want to be, you should be doing this monthly. He's doing it quarterly. It's 7 a day, but he doesn't miss a day.
Right. Well, that's the 8 glasses of water or the push-up, or it's not fun to drink 8 glasses of water a day unless you're really into water or doing push-ups or
I like my McDonald's Diet Coke that I'm addicted to.
I drink Diet Coke as well. But it is, life is so much about just getting yourself to do the mundane and then reaping all the benefits, And these large, giant, luxury homes that some people get, yes, that may or may not ever happen for you, but you can build a fantastic career selling $300,000 homes, 65 of them a year. And, doing all of these, I mean, that's a wonder. You said that's the top 1% earner. That's a top 1% producer in this industry. And it is somebody that is going to have a wonderful life.
Life. If you plan properly and you invest wisely, you're disciplined in your business. It's a wonderful, and this particular agent's 32, 33 years old. And so his average price point is $300,000. When he's 35, 38, his average price point is going to go to 4 million, or excuse me, 400,000.
Yeah.
Right. So that just takes him from 21 to 27 without even having any more transactions. The reality is he's going to get more referrals and more business. So, he's got a bright future ahead of him. Another thing I'd like to touch on with everybody is the importance of recording and having a proper CRM.
Yeah.
And there's a lot out there. We have ours, the Dashboard Corporation's and Ello's our dashboard product that we probably will be taking to market sometime in the near future. But the reason it's important is I find out one of the most dangerous things that people do in any industry, any business out there where you're in sales is they write leads on pamphlets or pieces of paper, and it's so hard to access. And I understand, like, I got this very disciplined notebook and this is how I do it, and it works for some, but it doesn't work for the majority. And the reason why I like it is because another important part when we get out of our network is what are all those prospects that you generated the past year, and when was the last time you followed up with them, and how consistent are you? So this particular agent, not the one that I coached, not the 65 transactions a year, but the other one who's been in the business for about a year and a half. You know how many prospects he had in there?
No.
50.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a lot, right? But then we start auditing. When was the last time you contacted these 50? And so I'm trying to get everybody to say, that is what you need to be looking at a daily basis. And a prospect, DJ, you could be somebody in my network. You could be a friend of mine. You are a friend of mine, but you could be somebody in my network that's not in the real estate business, right? For this example, and tell me you're going to buy a house, but you're not going to do it at the end of the year. You're a prospect and you're in there. Now I'm staying in flow with you once every 2 to 4 weeks casually and keeping you close in mind. I'm not going for the kill, right?
Soft touches.
Soft touch. You may transact 18 months from now, but if you're not pulled out of my network and put in that special category, I run the risk of losing you and costing myself a significant amount of money, and then repeat business or referral business. So it's something that needs to be paid attention to by everybody that's a professional in this business. I don't think it's given enough attention in our industry. I think there's a lot of other things that get higher priority in terms of marketing and social media marketing and all this other stuff that's out there, which is all important. But the number one part of your business is the network and the integrity of the data that's in your CRM for your network, and then how in tune you are with that network.
And we are at a perfect time of the year to give a reason for you to call those people. It's, hey, I just want to this is a perfect example. So I send out holiday cards, and just for my friends and family, we send out about, and this is not a business thing, it's just something we do for fun, send about 60 or 70. And then we always get about 10 or 15 back. It's most people don't seem to do them anymore. But most people don't ever check to see if I had moved, and I had actually moved. And so I did get a bunch of people that said, hey, just out of curiosity, did you ever get my card? And I had about 5 cards that I never got. And I've been doing holiday cards long enough to know you always ask people, did you move? But this is a great time to check in with people and check in with your sphere of influence and say, hey, I'm just updating my database because I'm going to be sending you some stuff throughout the year. Just want to make sure that nothing has changed for you. And it really gives you a reason to pick up the phone and call somebody or to send them an email. But great opportunity right now to say, hey, I'm putting my marketing plan together, or you don't even have to get into details. Just want to update my database, make sure if I have to send something to you that it's going to the right spot, make sure, and then you can ask them and start a conversation. Hey, how are things at work? Are you staying safe? Are you working from home still? What's going on? And it just starts the conversation. And then that's a touch, and that's a great touch.
Yeah. And what also is social media gives you such an insight to what's going on in people's lives. And the most important thing to them is feeling significant. So, you could go to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and, take 2-3 minutes to research a person. Even if they haven't posted something in 7-8 months, you could use that as a foundation to start the conversation with somebody. That's why it's so not like, I kind of hate social media, right?
Me too.
Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, the advantage it gives me,
Oh,
um,
huge.
right? And the freedom that it gives me. Um, and I use it probably 90% for researching and developing relationships and 10% marketing. In fact, I'm not even the person posting on my social media. Somebody else is posting stuff on my Facebook and my Instagram. I
Okay.
don't even look at it as a marketing tool. I look at it as a extension of my relationship building.
You know, it's funny, as I think you're right. And I also was thinking about different service providers, and I was thinking about, like, I'm curious to get your opinion of this, but or to get your experience. So um, you're a successful person. You have a lot of service professionals wanting your business. Maybe it's financial advisor, an attorney, accountant, whatever. Lots of different service providers that would love to get some part of your business. Um, I don't almost ever get prospected by other service providers. Accountants don't reach out to me, attorneys, financial advisors don't reach out to me. Maybe I'm on some sort of do not call list that I'm absolutely, like, I'm not allowed to be called, but I don't think so. But I am amazed at how few industries really do a good job of what we're talking about, is developing relationships. I mean, the only reason I haven't switched accountants in 12 years is no one else has ever reached out to me to say, hey, I could probably do a better job, or I'd like to do an audit for you. I'm amazed. And so I guess the point I was trying to make is, if you are doing these things where you're staying in contact, you're caring about your sphere of influence, you're paying attention, you're staying in touch. It's like that Scott Peck book title, It's Never Crowded Along the Extra Mile. Like, it is literally not crowded along the extra mile. No one else is really doing this. So just by doing it half right or half well, you're going to be doing more than probably any of your peers. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do. And also, look at yourself, and ask yourself, how do you do business? So what do I mean by that? So we said in the show, and I've said over and over again, your network is your net worth, right? It's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And so I have made it my philosophy that I only do business with people I know.
Yeah.
And I actually go out of my way when I have a need to see if there's somebody that's in my network that does it, because I want people to use me when they have a need. So, I have anything from, anything that you can use. If you look in the community, in the neighborhood, and from legal to financial and whatnot, it's a neighbor, somebody I met on a soccer field, it's somebody who's become friends of mine because their kids friends with my child. Some people say I don't do business with friends. That's a small amount. I do business with friends. I support my friends. I support my family. And I consider my friends my family. And I consider my network the most, one of the most important, highly, highly you should be asking yourself too, as a real estate agent, you're also a consumer. Am I supporting the people out there that I'm looking to support back?
It's a good point. I guess I hadn't really thought of it that way. And that's a good point. Well, if you expect people to work with you because they know, like, and trust you, you should probably look for them as well when you're needing those kind of providers.
Absolutely. And look, I'm a 46-year-old man married with 3 kids. And so I have a life insurance policy, and I have an insurance agent, right, for my life insurance that is in my network. I have an estate, right, and a last will, and a will, and all that good stuff, and that's an estate attorney. And I have businesses, and so then I have business attorneys, right? These are all individuals that are in my neighborhood, so on and so forth, right? I completely, a number of years gutted and remodeled their home. Guess what? We hired somebody that was a friend of ours in our neighborhood who's a local builder. So I just feel I feel very strong on that's a part of my ethos. That's how I work. That's how I want people to work with me. I have to do the same thing back with my network.
Yeah. So once our listeners, can break down their sphere of influence and realize what their, how often they want to reach out to these people. And then they have some sort of process for doing that daily. What else are you talking to your agents about and helping them have a great 2022?
It's probably 60-70% mindset, 30% fundamentals,
Mm-hmm.
right? I will do, not just for our company, for other companies, right? I'll speak engagements and seminars and coaching sessions. And I tell everybody, the statistics show a week from now, you're going to forget 97% of the stuff that I told you. And I'm going to give you for all the listeners here, I'm going to give you some very powerful activities for you to do. And if there were 10 listeners to this call, if there's 10 people in the room that you and I are speaking with, I will say the same thing. I'll say 8 of you will walk out of here and not do anything with it. And 2 of you or less will. It's a sad truth. So what I'm doing with our agents is I'm constantly messaging this over and over, whether it's first in the morning email, an office meeting, an all company call. I'm messaging the same good old habits over and over again.
Yeah, repetition, right? So you're repeating the message as often as possible about fundamentals, and we all want the big win, the big exciting, sexy listing, or the high net worth client who is buying the multi-million-dollar home with cash, or just I want to be in the luxury market, or I want to, and that's great, but life is usually about the small wins and what's repetitive, right? And you might have a friend you might have one friend who buys the $4 million home with cash, but you probably don't have 20 friends that'll do that, right? But you have the rest of us are buying smaller price properties. It's predictable. And all you have to do is make sure that they know you care about them.
I never focus on the price of the transaction. And I've never, willed myself to a certain price point. I've always made my focus on network, and the business will come. Yeah. And whatever comes is enough.
Yeah.
It's enough. And it works out. It all works out at the right time. So, it's like a horse. Put on the blinders and get focused on what's important. And it's truly networking with your network. Business will just come from it. An overwhelming amount of business will come from it, and it will get easier and easier over time. There are people that want to focus just on the luxury market, and that's great. I'm just, I'm not that type of, I sell luxury real estate. We've got, we sold 12, 15, $60 million homes in our company. And I was part of the transactions helping the agents out. But to target that particular market, I'm not your guy. I think that's going to come down to essentially a person who's built their brand, their network over time, a long period of time, and they have a high net worth Rolodex of clients that they worked with over time. And there's a word that I keep saying over and over again. It's time. You give yourself time, people. It takes time to grow your business, but it comes. And if you stay focused on the right things, it snowballs.
Well, and the best part is you don't have to even enjoy doing these tasks, right? Because I don't enjoy going to the gym. I just got back from the gym, so it's on my mind. I don't enjoy much of it. It's hard. It's not my thing. It hurts. It's painful. I'm out of breath. But it works. And all I have to do is go. And I don't have to like it. It would be great if I did like it, but the truth is I don't. Okay, I don't. But as long as I go, I get the result. And this, it's the same thing. If you're like, I don't like to pick up the phone. Well, Ryan said, well, you don't have to, right? You can text, you can do something on social, you can email. But even if you didn't like calling, you could still make 5 or 6 calls a day. And that's your, I don't want to do this, but it's doable. It's not 200 dials a day, which would be very difficult for people who don't like making dials, but you don't have to even like the task. You just have to do it. And if you break it down into small enough chunks, you make it easy to achieve, whatever your, personal feeling is about the particular task, right?
Yeah, totally. And if you have the right tools and the right technology, it should give you actually that dopamine reward,
Yeah.
right? So, our dashboard, our Zanello product, it gives you many visual cues, from goal setting to calibrating your dashboard, lead sources, volume, the temperature of the prospects, where they are in the process. It's really actually kind of fun once you get into it.
Sure.
And then going down the line of connecting with your network, that's the same thing. That's a check, 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 check. That will start to release dopamine in you as well, just as much as you see a text or a like button on your social media is releasing a dopamine. You can do the exact same thing. You could train yourself. You really can, if you're aware of it, to get satisfaction and get addicted to that process. But you got to have the right tools and the right product. That's why we custom created our own product, because we hadn't found one out there in the marketplace that does that.
Well, I'm excited to share that with our audience once that becomes available to to the public, and we can go through some demos and check it out and see how what you built, because your perspective on it. Most CRMs are built by developers. They're not built by agents. And there's a lot of CRMs in the field, and some of them are very good. But one that's built by an agent or someone who coaches agents will look probably a bit different, and function a bit differently, because it is important to feel good about those difficult tasks. And for me, like at the gym, the thing I'm addicted to is the feeling I get as I walk out the door, going, I just did something really hard. For me, it was really hard. It was really healthy for me. And I feel proud of myself, and I get a dopamine hit just from being proud. So even if that's your dopamine hit, right? Like, so if you go, I hate picking up the phone. Okay, fine, whatever. You don't love it. But if you do it when you're done, you are going to be so proud of yourself. And that's worth doing.
That's it. Exactly.
Well, I think that's a great place to sort of wrap for our first session of 2022, guys. It's the fundamentals. And Ryan, whenever Ryan and I talk offline, sometimes he'll say, "Gosh, we'll go over fundamentals again," and is that boring to the audience? And I was like, "Well, I hope not, because it's the only thing that's worked in my life is fundamentals." I mean, once in a while I get lucky here and there in life. Sometimes I get unlucky, but the fundamentals really even out the times in between the good luck, and it just smooths out the transition. And real estate's a perfect example of, you're going to have some good luck, you're going to have some bad luck, and that is just going to that's just going to happen to you. And then that you can't really control, but you can certainly control your day-to-day effort. And if you put it in, it's not that insurmountable of a task, right? Like making 7 dials a day, just checking in with that should be fun. It really should be fun.
Well, and also too, keep in mind, and also, hey, audit your dashboard or audit your network.
Yeah.
How many of your contacts do you not have their home address? How are you going to sell their home if you don't know where they live? Right. And it's like fundamentals. Like you got to take care of your own house. You got to take care of your own business. If you want to be at that top level, you got to look at all those data points and make sure it's cleaned up and it's ready so that you can excel.
Yeah, fundamentals win the game. So appreciate and auditing and making sure that what you're doing is actually creating the results you want, which you should know. As Ryan said, you should know your why. Like, why am I doing this? If it's to earn income, okay, fine. If it's to deepen relationships, okay. Or maybe it's a lot of different things, but know your why, and that'll help you get through the more difficult daily activities that like, I know why I go to the gym, and it's not just for the dopamine hit on the way out. And that pushes me through the hard parts. And same thing with all of us. Know your why, and then just put the blinders on and start deepening relationships. If that's all you got from this was to deepen relationships with the people in your network, you're going to have an amazing 2022. Even if you aren't that skilled as a realtor, although you should be, of course, you should work on your business and develop those skills. We could talk about it at a different time. But even if you just did that, your pipeline is going to get full in about 6 to 9 months, maybe, or even sooner than that.
Correct.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you. On behalf of all of us, we want to thank Ryan. I mean, this is a guy who runs 4 companies, hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of of employees as well as top producers. And he takes time out of his busy schedule to come on. We really appreciate it. So if anyone out there is in the Chicagoland area or Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Florida, and is looking for a firm where the leader is a coach, and they have lots of wonderful support and help and all these tools to help you grow, and also just to support your brand and let you build the business you want, DAprilal Properties is really a great place to look. So check out deaprilproperties.com. You can reach out to Ryan's team or Ryan directly right through their website, and you can learn more about what they offer. It also has Midwest lending. So if you're an LO, a loan officer, and maybe looking to see what other lending institutions offer, he would love to chat with you about that, as well as title agents. And then he has a software company, which has a pretty exciting CRM coming out we'll be talking about shortly. So on behalf of all of the listeners and viewers, Ryan, thank you. And on behalf of Ryan and myself, we want to thank you guys, right? We wouldn't be doing this without our listeners. We're coming up on a million something downloads. I can't remember the exact number.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. And that's, we're so grateful. And the reason we do not spend money on advertising either. So we very much appreciate, you telling other agents, you meaning our listeners, about our show. And feel free to shoot them over to our website, keepingitrealpod.com. You can download or actually you can download, but you can also stream every episode we've ever done there. And please leave us a review. This is the big thing I'm pushing for this year, because it's really good feedback for us. Let us know whatever system you might be listening to this on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Google Play. There's lots of different podcast places to listen to podcasts. Let us know what you think of the show. Let us know what you like. And also let us know what you don't like so we can improve. But anyway, we'll let Ryan get back to his busy schedule. Ryan, thanks again. And we'll see you on the next coaching moments.
I appreciate it.